When you promise your little girl you're going to call at 8, and when 8 comes and goes,
Oh no.
and 9, and 10,
That's terrible.
she's devastated, sobbing, and I'm the one who has to deal with damage.
The poor kid.
He's out somewhere cavorting with his girlfriend, and Lori's leaving all these heartbreaking messages on his phone. Daddy, where are you? Daddy.
Oh God.
He just doesn't get it.
Did he finally call?
Yeah, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
No.
Tell Lori I'm really sorry.
What a schmuck.
If you want to tell your daughter you're sorry, call her when she's awake and tell her yourself.
Unbelievable. Was he always like this, or is that this what happens to people when they break up? Do they get stupid or what?
I know.
I'm telling you, this whole thing with you and Tom, it's like men get by for years without really talking to you. And then one day, when they finally do, it's to tell you they're leaving.
So you and Gabe talk?
Yeah. You sure you don't mind eating out here?
Not at all. The sun feels great.
I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
I know.
You look wonderful. You really do.
Thank you.
We were worried about you.
Really?
You disappeared on us.
I didn't mean to.
I'd leave messages and you wouldn't call back right away.
I know. I'm sorry. I needed some time to myself, you know?
You're not mad at me or anything, are you?
I'm mad at you. Why should I be mad at you?
I don't know. When this thing first happened, talked all the time.
I know.
You dropped by all the time. Then after a while,
I I thought you were getting sick of me.
no.
I was getting sick of me.
Are you sure I didn't offend you in some way?
Karen, why would you have offended me?
You don't think on some level you blame me for this whole thing?
God, that's ridiculous.
It was my idea to introduce you.
So what? We're all grown-ups. We knew what we were doing.
Yeah, but I set this whole thing in motion, all the rancor and rage, and the pain the kids are going through.
It was out of your control. That we came together was much out of your control as our falling out. You can't control everything, Karen, even as much as you'd like to think you can.
So I guess you immersed yourself in work all this time, which is probably the healthiest thing you could do.
Well, actually, I haven't been in my studio in weeks.
Why not?
The pressure to paint was totally lifted.
Oh, that'll pass.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I don't want to paint anymore.
Why?
Right after Tom left, this unburdening took place. I looked at what I'd been doing with my life, and it seemed so insignificant to me.
No.
Yes, I realized Tom was right. I was using painting as an excuse to not get on with my life.
How can you how can you say that after all these years, all that hard work?
Let's face it, I was never very good.
That's not true. You are very good.
Karen, you don't have to say that anymore.
I like your stuff.
It's okay. I'm over it. It's not important anymore.
Wow. So, what have you been doing with yourself all winter?
Therapy. twice a week.
Good.
And I'm seeing someone.
Why, you little devil. Isn't that great?
It is. He's a wonderful man.
What's his name?
David,
Uh-huh. How'd you meet him?
actually, I met him years ago, like 10 years ago or something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he and Tom used to work together.
Uh-oh. Another lawyer?
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, can't have everything.
Anyways, he just happened to call for Tom,
Uh-huh.
and I filled him in on what was going on.
Uh-huh.
He was very compassionate, and it turned out his marriage was falling apart too.
Uh-huh.
So we met for a drink, and it turned out we had a lot in common, and I've been seeing him ever since.
Well, it certainly seems to agree with you.
Oh, it's been.
I think it's great you're getting your feet wet. The hell with Tom.
Well, actually, it's been a bit more serious than wet feet. I'm sorry. This isn't this silly. This is like we're in high school. I'm I'm blushing. I've been so excited, stealing away when we can.
How long has this been going on?
A few months.
Uh-huh.
We're having such a good time.
A few months.
He's teaching me how to rollerblade.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty good at it too. We play hooky some afternoons and he takes me out to, along the canal.
Do you wear knee pads and a helmet and everything?
Yes.
Because you could really hurt yourself on those things.
It's fun. You should try it. We'll give you and Gabe a lesson.
Yeah, I can just see Gabe.
He's so full of life, David. He's so open and optimistic. He's a playmate. That's what he is. A wonderful playmate.
Boy, that was fast.
What?
Tom is barely out the door.
Aaron,
You didn't want to be alone for a while. You haven't been alone in a dozen years.
I've always been alone. Don't you see it? I spent my marriage alone.
But to get involved with someone right away.
I'm in love with him.
How could you be in love with him?
I am.
You've only just started seeing him
I knew him years ago, I said.
through Tom.
Right. We went out socially a few times, the two couples.
But that's different.
I mean, it's not like he's a stranger. The preliminaries were out of the way. There's a history there. There was already a kind of shorthand.
I can understand it being exciting. I can understand that, but love?
Why is that so hard to believe? I fell in love with Tom that first weekend at the vineyard.
Okay, and look where that got you.
Karen,
Sorry. You're very vulnerable right now.
oh, please.
I don't want you to get hurt.
I'm gonna marry him. David is not Tom. He's not. They're very different men. There's no hidden agenda with him. What you see is what you get. He talks to me. He tells me what he's thinking. He lets me in. So much of my marriage to Tom was this dark little tango, this adagio dance. I don't want that anymore. I want another shot at it with David, and David wants me.
I wish you the best then.
Thanks. He's great with kids. You should see him with them. They're crazy about him, particularly Sammy. He's all over him. Things were so gloomy after Tom left. You have no idea.
I know.
I never thought my kids would laugh again. I mean it. It was that grim.
I'm sure.
I know what I'm doing, Karen. This is the man I was meant to be with. I really believe that. I had to survive Tom so I could end up with David. It was my fate.
That may be, but I still wish you'd give it more time.
And let this moment pass? No way. I don't want to let this moment. Look, why do I even bother?
What?
You think I'm crazy?
I never said that.
This is my opportunity for a real marriage, a real partnership, and you don't want me to have that, do you?
What an outrageous thing to say. Of course I do.
I'm finally feeling whole, finally feeling like I'm on the right track. And for the first time in my life, what do? You undermine me.
I am not undermining you. I'm
Oh,
only thinking of what's best for you.
I see.
Try being alone for a while. That's what I would do.
What's so great about being alone? Huh? What's so great about it?
I would indulge myself, get to know myself better.
That's easy for you to say. You have Gabe. You have this life.
Beth,
You know what I think? I think you love it when I'm a mess.
what?
You do. You love it when I'm all over the place, flailing about. I finally find someone who's like an anchor, and you don't want to hear about it.
That is not true.
As long as I'm artsy and incompetent, everything's fine. The moment I show any signs of being on equal footing with you, forget it. You can't deal with it. You have to knock me over.
How can you say that?
Come on. You need me to be a mess. You're invested in it. Every Karen needs a Beth.
That really isn't fair.
We all play the parts we're handed. I was the mess, the ditz, the comic relief. You got to be Miss Perfect. Everything just right. Just the right wine, just the right spice, just the right husband. How was I supposed to compete with that?
Nobody was asking you to compete
You're
with
right.
anything.
You're right. There was no contest. I couldn't possibly reciprocate the hostess gifts you would give me. I could never tell if you were being remedial or just plain hostile.
I had no idea you felt that way.
We all can't be like you, Karen. God knows I've tried. No matter how much I stir, my soup still sticks to the pot.
We loved nothing more than having you in our home and cooking you meals.
We loved it too.
You're my family.
I know.
I spent my first 20 years doing whatever the hell I could to get away from my family, and my second 20 years doing everything I could to cobble together a family of my own. I thought if I could choose my family this time, I could make my friends my family.
Congratulations. The family you've chosen is just as fucked up and fallible as the one you were born into. So how are the boys? And you and Gabe.
We're good. We're fine.